Hey. Well, in the doc, we've got one standing reminder about cutting a release, but no other topics. So if anybody would like to add a topic, well, we can definitely talk about it.
Maybe we can cut the release now.
Let's do it. Cut it.
Right.
Or whatever it's in, just cut it.
CI is red though, if
Oh.
that matters.
Oh, maybe we should talk just briefly about the two-factor auth thingy.
Cool.
You think we have a chore in our backlog to go do it?
I don't even know whether we have to do something.
I think we do. I think the problem is they're going to start requiring two-factor auth, which means we have to pick some second factor. And so the way that we kind of get around that is instead of engaging a second factor for our bot account, we reset the password every time we need to log in. And we just store like some sort of recovery key. Instead of storing the password, we store some recovery key. So then, like when we enable it, right, it gives us some recovery key and we put that somewhere. And then we put it in, vault, right? Not just somewhere. Instead of the password, we put the recovery key. And then the two-factor becomes, I think, like an email that we share plus that recovery key. Anyway, it's just following the instructions. It's going to be a pain, but there doesn't seem to be a better way to do it. I mean, I think the good thing is we don't have to log in very often with that user, right?
No, I don't think we do, but what happens? How would the user create PRs and all that? I mean, if we store that recovery key, wouldn't that mean that the user will still not have two-factor enabled on their account? So maybe we'll be getting the warning. And if we do enable two-factor, wouldn't the bot have to use the second factor to open PRs and stuff like that? That's what I don't quite get.
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't spend a lot of time with their document, picking through the details. But I would imagine like going to be using deployment keys mostly for the actual CI. So we're not logging in, we're using a deployment key for a particular repo, right? Or whatever it's called.
Personal access token or?
Yeah, but it's a specific, it's per repo, not per, it's not essentially, it's not logging in.
Yeah, I see.
So I don't think those are affected. Like I think the bot can still do its bot things. It's only if we want to actually like log into change settings or whatever, or get new keys for new repos.
Oh, I see. So, So are you saying we're using those kind of deployment keys right now, and we're not using personal access token?
I would hope so.
Yeah, okay. Maybe I'm just misremembering because yeah, this maybe sort of makes sense because then you can still have service account like access per repo, and they don't want to support bot users. Like it's a user owned by some human that doesn't really use that user for anything. So I guess maybe that's, but yeah, this is some official docs, I guess. Maybe that email there will be a link probably in that email describing the process, I assume.
Yeah. I mean, GitHub has a page with recommended steps for how
I
you
mean,
deal with your
we-
bot users. So I think that
I don't remember the deadline. What's the date that they're going to absolutely make this a requirement? But I guess we should address it soon. So I guess the only thing, I guess either we do it or you do it. So we just need to agree on that, and then whoever will do it will put a chore in their column or whatever, because we don't have one backlog at this moment. So yeah, we're a little bit underwater right now, so we'll really appreciate if you can do it,
Yeah.
but I guess we can also do it. That's
I
fine
think,
as well.
I think we can do it. We have it in our mixed in with our proprietary junk in a different backlog, so we just didn't copy it into the open source backlog. But we can do it, and then we'll have more concrete recommendations about how to log in and whatnot.
Yeah, maybe just create an issue in the open source thing and maybe put some comments so that we can access it even later when we forget, because as you said, we don't really log in all that often.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing I want to do is
that.
The one thing I want to do is just talk to other Cloud Foundry teams, especially teams that have members on different companies, and just find out how they're approaching this and see if there's anything that we can copy that is like a good way of doing it.
I wonder if that affects the public GitHub only, or it would also affect enterprise GitHub accounts that we have inside our companies respectively, but we don't really have bots there, I guess, so maybe it's not so important. Anyway, it's not important, but yeah, thanks for doing that. I mean, we could also have done it, but lately we've been also struggling between some internal stuff and the Docker, Epic, and some other small bits and pieces, and it's been feeling a bit like things are just breaking down and we're not making much progress.
How is the Docker Epic going?
We just we haven't really properly started yet. Like, we did one story about being able to create Docker apps with the Docker type lifecycle, which is just, it's a small one. Something that did come up in this one was validation, because it's very weird, the CF-v3 API, because I think in the app you have a lifecycle and it can be either build-back or Docker, but then it entails different lifecycle data structure, which doesn't translate very well to Go, because you have to have an any field, which is a pain, or you have to have a single struct with all fields mixed, and this is the approach that we took, and then you have to validate, to have very heavy validation around, like, when build pack is set, like you don't have images, things like that, and the other way around. And the JDater library doesn't seem to have a way of doing natively this conditional validation. We were able to write a small custom function for validation. It's a bit weird because it's not using their predicates, but it's just plugging in some Go code with an if. Not the end of the world. I think we wasted a whole day on it, but we couldn't really find a better approach. Maybe the library needs a PR or something, but not critical right now. It's just something that didn't come up in the spike because we wasn't really touching these parts. We just hard-coded the Docker lifecycle there. But yeah, other than that, I think the controller part of it is doesn't hold as many surprises, because that's where we actually worked during the spike, and now we've been dealing with the API, which was we consider it trivial, but yeah, this is what came up. Other than that, I think it's fine. It's just that we don't have tons of time and we're making slow progress because we've been also doing other things like caring about the pipeline, doing internal stuff and whatnot.
Mhm.
So yeah, in terms of releasing, I don't know if we have a lot to release, but once we have the Docker thing in, maybe we could release because it's a meaningful thing. If you plan on doing something, even something small but complete, you can
Yeah.
also pull the trigger. We can also coordinate it via Slack, and it's not
Mhm.
a big deal.
Yep.
Sounds good to me. That works out. What else? Any other topics come to people's minds? Nothing else on the dock. I think we've been thinking a little bit lately around trying to get some of the roles filled out to some degree. So we'll likely put something forth before too long on that. But I don't think that's too crazy or controversial either.
Like introducing more roles, because right now we have space developer, pretty much an admin, and that's it.
Yeah, I think part of it is just making sure like the roles that we have or the roles that are like done by the CLI automatically usually are at least close to correct is the general consensus on that. But yeah, I don't know that we're gonna go so far as to do like auditor and some of the more nuanced roles, but I think we're gonna dig in to figure out what that could look like and raise some thoughts on it. So
I think once we had a discussion with Danny on authorization. I think it was a part of our recent E2E simplification. Oh, that's the other thing. We've been doing some chores, meaning that not a lot of product increment went in. But anyway, we're thinking about authorization because remember we cut down authorization tests dramatically in the E2E suite. And we thought maybe it's a good idea. Like if you want to test rows, it could be a possibility to write end-to-end like tests with that do something similar to the kubectl CanI, so that you can just do a round trip with the token. It will do the token review, and this way you can probably check if the row can do this or that without having to do a very complex test setup.
Yeah, I like that.
So just an idea if you think it might help if you're planning on taking up this epic.
yeah, please someone fill in details on that one. I heard you. I wasn't sure how to summarize it though.
If it's all one word like that, but yeah.
Makes sense.
Not like that. Where is it?
Perfect.
We had a provisional possible epic to allow people to bind provision secrets as user provided services or services of some kind. But I don't know if that's going to happen or not. Basically.
What are these provision secrets?
So provision service is
Services.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. It's like a Kubernetes service construct, which is essentially it's a duck type. So any object that has a status binding.name, it fits the duck type, and that that status of binding.name is a reference to a secret in the same namespace, right? So that's already how our services are getting created when you do a user provided service.
And this is the service binding IO thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we would just be extending it to allow people to use existing services that were created through some other mechanism.
Mhm.
And I mean, we haven't really done a whole lot of anything on it yet.
Fair.
It's just a possible next step in the services story, because we have a kind of lousy services story right now. User provided services is all you can do. So
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. If you have more information, this would be interested to take a look. So if you have something in written form at some point, just send it along.
yeah, we will. I mean, definitely, if we're gonna do it, we'll make sure to write it
I
up.
guess it will
as
be a proposal, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's kind of a new thing.
It's big enough that it should be a proposal, and we should review it if we're gonna do it. We just don't even know if we're gonna do it yet.
Yeah, we'll be interested also in more context about around why you need it. Like, what was the sort of high-level use case? Is it like sharing external services that you didn't provision, and so on? So it will be interesting.
Cool. Do you want to talk about anything else? Give everybody some time back if they want it. We can stand here and get recorded by Zoom and hang out for the next 40 minutes. All right. Well, thank you all. Appreciate it. I'll catch you later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Have a nice day.